It's Lindsey. I decided I would pop on live today because I haven't had the opportunity, or reverse, I have not made the opportunity to be able to record anything and share anything with y'all over the past almost week, I guess. My What I Eat in a Day video was the last thing that I put up, and that's the last time that I have filmed. So I thought that I would do a live today just to sort of check in, let you know that my current favorite summertime drink that I have here is so stinking good, and that there is a sale that is happening starting today. I'm sure if you are anywhere even like associated with the whole like keto YouTube genre community, I guess, I don't know. There is the Perfect Keto sale starting today for their 4th of July sale. And I know that like Steve from Serious Keto has probably already mentioned it. I heard Janet Greta talk about it today. So many people who use Perfect Keto are sharing with you today that today the sale starts. And I also would like to share that with you because I'm about to go order a lot more of the Strawberry MCT Oil Powder because it has been phenomenal, like absolute, hands down, my favorite product from Perfect Keto right now. And the way the sale works is the more you buy, the more you get free, kind of a thing. Not quite as not quite the same structure as their Memorial Day sale when I got a lot of things. This sale is when you buy 2 products, you get 1 free. So buy 3, one of them will wind up being free. If you keep going in like increments of 3 into your cart, that 3rd item will be free. So hello, Katie Kimball from California. Yeah, strawberry, so tasty. So what this is, I'm trying to film a What I Eat in a Day video as well. Oh, my camera, it's over by the air fryer. I just made this on my What I Eat in a Day video that I'm recording right now, and all it is a splash of coconut milk, half a scoop of the Strawberry MCT Oil Powder, and whisk that all together with my, not my immersion blender, but my frother, my little handheld frother, and then I topped it off with a bunch of club soda. Oh, it's so good. So good. And I would not have purchased that strawberry on its own had it not been the free gift from the Memorial Day sale. It was so good. Put some lean in that drink. I'm gonna need some context on that comment. So anyway, my plan is I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna buy more Strawberry MCT Oil Powder, and then I'm also gonna buy more salted caramel MCT Oil Powder. I also might buy the unflavored just to have more of that. And I might go ahead and just buy like 2 of each so that I can wind up buying 4 and getting 2 for free, and doing it that way. And I wanna say there was like a free gift possibly. Yes, if you order over $115, you get a free gift with this buy 2, get 1 free. So I'm about to stock up. I do have some of their collagens as well, and the flavor is fantastic. I do cut all of my powders in half for the volume that I consume, with the exception of the unflavored powder, because I want all of the MCT oil from the MCT oil powder. But the flavor is super like strong, potent, if you will, and the sweetness is really sweet for my palate at this point of my experience, my adventure, my quest for health. So reducing the volume of powder, if it's a flavored powder, gets the flavor and the sweetness level at a place where I'm like, yes, this is good, I can do this. So I just wanted to share that with you and see how y'all are doing this week. And I'm probably going to wind up drinking all of this within the next like 15 minutes because it is just very addictive unless I continue talking for way too long. So there is that. I also have a tiny bit of sadness to share with you, and it's really just kind of like a first world sadness, not so much like a very like super wicked important sadness, but I have lost, at least I think I have lost all of my footage from all of our family trips, all of our photos, all of our videos, all of those things from like the past 4 years. because the external hard drive that I used for that somehow is either damaged physically or corrupted, like within there. So we're in the process of trying to recover that, but it's very sad because that means the majority of all the photos and videos and other media that I have like taken of my children and of my husband and me on like family vacations and that kind of stuff, that may be lost forever. I don't know that I was ever intending on doing anything with that. It was really just more for funsies for us to look back on and see it. And I had big plans to spend time editing a lot of those things together. Like we have gone through and done Chicago a couple of times. We went and did a helicopter trip in 2019. That was super cool. We got to see all kinds of things on that trip. And like a whole host of things we've done over the past, I don't know how many years. And I had it in my mind that I would make these home movies for, for my girls to enjoy, for me and my husband to enjoy, for the grandparents to enjoy eventually, whenever we get those like put onto DVD and send down to them, because that would be the least invasive method of getting that information to them. Regardless, that may not happen. And so I have a bit of a sad in my heart over that situation, and we're just gonna keep moving forward because like that's all we can do. But yeah, that has been kind of like a mental block as well, because I use that hard drive to not only store all of the footage, but I also use that to work my editing software from, just so that way it's not bogging down my computer's main hard drive. And I never thought to actually go in and back up my backup hard drive, but apparently that is a real thing I should have been doing all along. So there's what's going on in my world. So good. What else? We're just kind of trucking along. It's been a very busy season. I have felt like my time is not actually my time, just from us going through and working on this house and working on the old house, and then all of the activities and things that the girls are in right now. It's like I thought we were gonna have a little bit of like a lull through summer, but we're just as busy as ever, which I think is a good thing to a certain degree. Like not so busy that we can't relax, but it's definitely busier than I expected it to feel over summertime. So we are, just chugging right along, doing all of the things that we do. And I am jazzed about the beginning of the new school year, because we finally have like the homeschool room starting to come together. That has been a room that has been very delayed in me even dealing with it. And we now have a closet system in place in the actual school room. That was a bit of a like trying to decide, what do we want? How do we want this? And when I say we, I mean me, because I'm the one that does the homeschooling. My husband just supports my endeavors, and trying to figure out how to manage all of the curricula and the manipulatives and just, all of the things that I like to use in our homeschool. That has taken a lot of focus on my part. So there's that. And yeah, we're coming right along with it. It's exciting. I love playing with my curricula, and I'm really excited to get started on homeschool lessons soon-ish. I mean, like it's summertime, but time seems to be moving at warp speed, so it'll be here before I know it. It's good. It is good. I think it needs a little ice to sort of like make it feel more like voluminous, but it's good stuff right there. What else? I don't even know. Is there anything that y'all are into this week? We're getting ready for 4th of July here in the States, so not sure what that'll look like for us. I'm sure it will involve a lot of fireworks. Probably not here, probably elsewhere. So going to see all the fireworks, 4th of July parade in town, kind of a thing. We're excited about that. We always have a good time doing that. Veronica, it's awesome for me homeschooling my children. Thank you. That has been something that we have been doing from the beginning. It was not like a pandemic shutdown situation for us. I started homeschooling, backtrack. I felt called to homeschool right after we got a positive pregnancy test with my first child. So I was a product of the public school system and feel like I did just fine and dandy. My husband was a public school kid and he's fine and dandy, but for some reason I just felt like that call on my life to homeschool the girls before I even knew that the first one was a viable pregnancy. So we stuck to that. We had a little blip where we tried out a Christian school here for a few months, and it was not the right fit. It was very obvious that homeschooling was the best fit for our family. And with my husband and his job traveling and everything, it really works out beautifully for our lifestyle situation. And so, yeah, we have a good time homeschooling. The girls love it. We ask them all the time, like, you know, would you prefer to go to a traditional sit down in a classroom school system? And they're like, why? So, you know, we're cruising along, doing what works well for our family. So that's been good. I've also started to have some feelings that I should start to be more diligent with the girls and their food consumption. Just trying to sort of rework how we can manage that and start to train good habits into them. The past several months have been a little bit of a free-for-all, just for the sake of everything being so busy and so much just like so much moving around as far as, you know, doing one thing and then, oh, we're moving to a house and then, oh, getting everything unpacked and everything sorted out and all that jazz. So it's been a little bit of a process trying to get back and finding our bearings. And I have gotten kind of lax and dove into a few convenience items that I wouldn't typically have used in the past, but when the season's right for it, you just kind of take hold of the back of the wagon and you just hold on for dear life. So that is what's going on around here. Maybe I won't finish this in 15 minutes, who knows? But my club soda bubbles are starting to fade. It was an already opened bottle of club soda, so I think that may have something to do with it. But the bubbles really, really make this drink. So good. I don't know what else. It was wicked hot for the past week plus, and now it's starting to cool off a little bit. I mean, it's like 80 degrees today. Not even, it's like 75 degrees today. I gotta look at it. And it's feeling a little chilly out there, which is so dumb for me to say because I love cold weather. But whenever you're like acclimated to it being like in the upper 90s, you're like, okay, I've kind of acclimated to that high heat and the high humidity. And then it swings back by like 20 degrees and you're like, oh, that's a bit of a chill. And I'm like, I'm the person that loves to sit there and hang out in 20-degree weather. So extremes, super hot, super cold, middle of the road is not my jam. Hello, Cindy. Yeah, so is there anything y'all want to talk about? Because I'm really kind of like all done with the things that I really wanted to share. It's so tasty. I mean, I should probably just go ahead and pop on and start ordering because who knows if it's going to wind up being sold out. Like, I really hope not. And my intention, like I said, was to order the Strawberry MCT Oil Powder, the Salted Caramel MCT Oil Powder, and the Unflavored Oil Powder. That's where I'm leaning. I'm not really intending on buying like any of their food products or anything like that. Oh, I do have the sprinkles that they have. Do they still have those on site? No say. I don't know. Food. Let's look. We're just gonna check it out. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, the new kitchen setup is pretty great. Not gonna lie, I'm loving it. Do you see this cabinet right back there? Right there, the tall, skinny one. My mom and dad have that, and I know tons of newer kitchens have that. That has been so brilliant. I love that. And then I've got another cabinet back here that has the spices in it. It's like one of the spice deals. Love that. Love that for us. And I'm not seeing the sprinkles. I think it was super fat. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they don't have it anymore? Question mark? I don't know. Regardless, back to the kitchen. Also, this stove right here. I stinking love the stove. It is awesome. I love cooking with gas top stove so very much, but my oven is brilliant. It is not only like a standard oven, but it also has convection ability. And my mom has a convection oven and then a regular oven. And so she's got like the double oven stack, but this kitchen does not have that. It does have the dual functionality in the one. And so that makes my heart so happy. I love having the multifunctional oven situation. I basically cook on the convection option 90% of the time right now, so I'm loving that. Cindy, you have so many spices, you put them in a drawer in your island. That's a really good idea. I will say, we're gonna go on a field trip here. The one thing that I dislike about this is the fact that it's right next to the oven where it can get a little bit warm. Like it gets a little bit warm like on the upper back region here when the oven is on. However, you don't really want your spices exposed to the heat, right? In order to preserve them for as long as possible. Well, so I tend to use my spices very quickly, and we keep sort of like the back stock, the larger volumes of my spices in the pantry over there. So it's not like a ton of product can be wasted or lose its potency in that amount of time. So I'm glad for that, but it's one of those little things where you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't as well thought out as it should have been. Just maybe. The convection oven is just such a cool thing. I just love it. When we lived in Alaska, the rental that we had out there had a convection oven as well. It was just convection, not convection and regular. So that took me a little bit of time to figure out because we'd been only on electric standard ovens up until that point. No, I think Jared said we had been on a gas stove at one point. I can't quite remember. We've lived way too many places, and it's very difficult to remember all the things. So, hey, Alan, welcome. I'm not really talking about a whole lot. We're kind of admiring sort of my kitchen here, and I've got to tell you, the best part about my kitchen, aside from my dishes, be blessed, the best part is the island and the fact that the girls can sit there and have their breakfast while I am managing the breakfast back here. It's a good time. It's a good time. And I've also got like tons of outlets that I had outlets before, but it's very exciting that I can have all the outlets at this point. Hello, Barb from SoCal. Is it hot down there? I think that doesn't Southern California tend to be a little bit more temperate? Like it's not like always blazing hot or always, like overly humid, especially like on the coastline. At least that's the way it felt like to us in Hermosa Beach, but it's a good time. Well, thank you, Alan. I rather like it. This house was one that my husband found while we were house hunting. And the first thing that I saw was the big shop in the backyard. And I thought, I don't even care what the interior of the house looks like. If the shop is large enough for my husband, I'm going to be happy with anything. And then we walked through the house and I was like, this house is amazing. Oh my word, this house is amazing. So we're very, very grateful that we were able to get this house. We've loved it. The previous owners were really great people. And yeah, it's all worked out quite nicely in this season of life for us. So Barb, it's not really hot today. That's exciting. The coast is very nice, very nice. That is the one thing I do remember about Hermosa Beach. It was not so hot that you would die, but it was warm enough to where you would feel like happy to get in and out of the water. The 70s, it's a good temperature, except for me right now, and it's 75, and I'm like, oh, it's a breezy 75. If it was 20, I'd probably be out there in flip-flops, to be honest. But because it went from, mid-90s down to 75 overnight, it's kind of like, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. You are in Ventura. Cool, Barb. What else? I don't really have a whole lot. Is there anything in particular that y'all have been liking to eat lately? I have asked Jared to grill for the past several nights, and he does an awesome job on the grill. So last night it was hamburgers, well, cheeseburgers technically, and I made Neely's Butter Buns 2.0 recipe as my buns for last night. And I gotta tell you, that recipe can be absolute clutch. I don't use arrowroot powder, but it worked out nice, real nice. And then what else? The night before that, I made Texas torpedoes. I had every intention of recording Texas torpedoes for y'all because it's a recipe my grandma taught me. It is delicious. It's so tasty, but it was not my night to be able to do that. So I failed at that quest, but it's okay because they're super, super good, and I fully intend on making more of them to share with you. Oh, and we've been doing a lot of jalapeno poppers. What other good things have we eaten lately? I feel like we've eaten good food lately, but I couldn't tell you exactly what it's been going on. Cindy's been using the Stuffler, taco meat and Mexican cheese. Ooh, ham and cheese Stufflers. That sounds delightful. I am still not ready to dive into the Stuffler bandwagon, just for the sake of space. My cabinets and everything like that are organized right now, and they are not stuffed. Stuffler. They're not stuffed filled with all of the things at the moment. So, and I kind of like the freedom of space. I have one cabinet that's solely dedicated to the Ninja blender and all of its accoutrements. And then I've got another cabinet dedicated to all of my Instant Pot stuff and things. And then, you know, just like everything is easily accessible at this point. And I know that if I continue to add even more appliances, it's going to be a problem. So I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna just hold off. It's unnecessary at this point in the game. And I'm just now like pulling out my old waffle iron. It's a big 4 square Cuisinart waffle iron, and making just standard waffles for my girls for breakfast, and attempting to make waffles for myself. And Barbie said something about the egg yolk waffles. Yeah, I keep telling Amy I will try them. I just wind up like forgetting about it half the time, and right now the waffle iron's put away, so it's definitely not reminding me. But it's fine. I got this. I'm gonna make the egg yolk waffles soon, I think. Hopefully. Yes. It'll happen. It'll happen. There's just so many other things happening all at the same time. Like me pontificating about nothing on a live for 23 minutes. Self-awareness is high with this one, I tell you what. What else? We've got a good rhythm and routine. Keto chow waffles are amazing, Cindy says. I have never done that before. I really don't like the way sucralose makes me feel. And so I tend to not with the keto chow. I think I've mentioned that in the past. My husband likes the ice cream that I make in the Ninja Creamy when I use like Snickerdoodle from Keto Chow, or salted caramel, or I think I've done a couple of other flavors for him. I bought some kind of a variety pack to do, and the sucralose, I don't care for it for my personal self, but he really likes it, so I might consider trying out a Keto Chow waffle. I have decided that I will be reducing the volume of protein powders that I use in general, just because I am thinking that it just, like the particle sizes with them being so small, it impacts my insulin probably. I mean, not that I can actually test for insulin myself. I can test for glucose. I cannot test for actual insulin spikes, just like everybody else. Over-explainer much? Anyway, I cannot, I think that that's causing me some insulin issues perhaps, or some, you know, glucose spike issues perhaps. So I'm trying to reduce the amount of protein powders that I'm using in order to prevent that sort of thing from happening. And we'll see how it goes. I don't think that I have as significant a reaction to too much protein the way that Amy does over on Amy Carnivore's Angel. I don't have as good a response as Neely when she eats high protein. So, but she's also tending to eat just like meat, more so than just, you know, like protein powders. So I'm just trying to reduce the volume that I consume of those type things right now, just to see if it doesn't give my body a little bit of a chance to equalize to a certain degree. I will say having the higher fat has been brilliant. In my last What I Eat in a Day video, I basically fasted because I felt sick to my stomach from too much MCT oil, liquid oil, rather than the oil powder. And it throws off my brain hard. I do not think that long-term intermittent fasting, you know, where you're doing like an OMAD or a 2MAD, is really going to be a sweet spot for me at this stage of the game. And I like to listen to Going Keto with Casey. She doesn't use that phrase, that F word, and I find that humorous. And I was thinking it through, and you know, I've never been one to be super regimented with when and how much. I've always been very diligent with what. And I mean, for the past 6 years, that has served me to a certain degree, and I've not stepped away from keto just on a whim. You know, like for family event, that's like a one-off type of a situation, sure. For my pregnancy, my last pregnancy, which was 4.5 years ago, I could not consume a low-carb lifestyle without vomiting all the time. So I went back to Trim Healthy Mama and a little bit of standard American diet back then. But generally speaking, like my brain is just so rewired to the point where it's like, okay, eating these potatoes I know is going to cause a problem for me. Eating that like flour cake, like regular all-purpose wheat flour cake, is going to send me into like all kinds of craziness, tailspin. If I have sugar, it's going to send me into a tailspin. If I have these things, it's going to really do a number on my body. And I'm like, I don't want that. It's not for me. And so I don't just like feel it to be super stressful to go to town and not have what other people are having. I've never really felt that way. I've always thought through like, oh, well, I can't have that. And if people ask questions, I'm happy to evangelize it to them, as it were. But also I never felt the pressure to like eat something because somebody else was eating it, with one exception. The one exception was with my grandmother and fried chicken and root beer floats. And that was at the very beginning of me becoming a low carb keto person. So, hey, Briar Rose. I had those things. It was only about 12 weeks into me eliminating carbs from my way of eating and eliminating the sugar and all that junk that was really garbage for my body. That was the one time. But you know how it is. Like you've got that one person in your life possibly who can really, you're just like, I don't want to disappoint them, or I don't want to have to confuse them, or, you know, they've known me since like from the womb and they want me to do this thing because that's the way they've always known me. And so for my grandmother, I did eat the garbage, but only that one time. It is what it is. But for the most part, I don't really feel the peer pressure. I know that that's not the reality for most people. I also kind of love being a rebel, a rebellious person, and I love being unique, even though I know I'm not. So all of that, you know, that plays a part into it. Plus, I do not mind the spotlight, to be honest. So if any chance to get that spotlight for something weird, I'm likely to take it. A little more self-awareness for you. Cindy does not desire to join in either. Yeah, I feel like once you kind of find that place in your brain that I don't need to do these things, life becomes a lot less difficult, so to speak. Hello, Kathy. Burrows, that's why we love you. Well, if you want someone who's always going to buck the system, be blessed. This is me. That is fantastic, Cindy. No triggers for you. Started keto in 2020, September 2020. And you are down 96 pounds. That is phenomenal. And I'm going to high five your face. High five. 30-ish to go. That last push. That's amazing. And I wonder how much you feel like all the improvement. I mean, 100 pounds, that's like a 13-year-old human. That's amazing. I myself have been just kind of like content with my homeostasis. I believe my body set point right now is between 145 and 152, which is presently where I am. And I'm not really following this way of life for the sake of losing weight. I struggle to keep my pants on at the moment. But I think that has more to do with the fabric composition rather than me being just like skinny, because that's not real. But I definitely do this more or less for my metabolic health and for hormonal health. I think it was Dr. Tita, Jade Tita, was talking about there are people who are all about hormones when it comes to health and wellness. And then there are some people who are all about the calories and the macros. And I tend to fall more on the hormone side of it. Like I want to fix the hormones so that everything else has, like you want to clean up the system so that the things that you input can be more efficient, I guess. So that's usually where I fall. I think Dr. Tito is more or less trying to promote a way of life that's not only hormones or only macros, but somewhere kind of in the middle. Yeah, that requires me being less of an extremist. Cindy feels great. So you've lost 96 pounds. You're off of your blood pressure meds. Your A1C dropped from 5, I'm assuming, is that 5.8 or is that 58? Because I would like to think that it's 5.8. I could be wrong. 58 to 51 in the first 3 months, or the first 6 months. That's fantastic, Cindy. Like, again, high five right to the face. That's amazing. Yeah, okay, good. 5.8. I was thinking like that is I don't think that's the way that scale works, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. And Barb, you're focusing more on health rather than like weight loss. And I think that is the way to go. I do foresee myself shifting over to more of a body recomposition sort of focus at some point once we're all settled in and we've got other things happening throughout the end of the summer. And just like, we're just trying to get, settled into the new house. You know how it is whenever you first move into a house. It's got to take you like at least a year before you're like, okay, I feel like I've got a handle on this property given all of the different seasons of the year and how things function, and we're figuring it out. So I like to give myself a year in a house. Not that we've had that in every house, but a year or so, and I'm like, okay, now I can focus on something totally different. Barb no longer has fibromyalgia pain. That's amazing. Like, to have a reduction in pain to make your actual day-to-day life not hurt. That's amazing. Briar Rose, you were late to the party. I mean, you were late to the party. We're gonna forgive it for this time, but I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, you asked the question that I just lost. Did I say how the high fat, low protein is going? I did not. I do feel pretty rock solid though. I did mention wanting to cut out a lot of my use of protein powders just because I do think that those are causing some glucose responses that I'm not super pleased with. But I also I was mentioning that I don't have as much of a response to it the way, like in a negative way, that Amy does. And I don't think I have as good a response anymore to the protein. When I first started doing protein, like high protein and just letting the fat follow, I felt awesome. And then I started to sort of just like, I feel good. But I'm also that person that tends not to look backwards too hard. I tend to look forward for the most part. And I also tend to be more of an energized, like move forward kind of a person rather than a like kind of hang out in the low valleys and just be like depressed almost. And I think that part of my personality can kind of suppress some of the real physiological symptoms that I can feel at times. So I was still feeling really good for the most part. And then iodine happened and I felt like Iron Man upgraded, and that was really awesome. But then I noticed that Iron Man upgraded was good and all, but I felt like I needed to constantly like eat in order to fuel Iron Man upgrade. So I, talking with Amy about the things with the protein, and then reading any way you can, and just kind of like reorienting myself, because I tend to get information overload, and I reoriented myself to what was I doing in the very beginning that was going well with me. And again, I struggle to look backwards. So it was an exercise, and it was a really good exercise for my mind. And it was doing that high fat, all the high fat. And I was not super into having 1,000 vegetables in the beginning either. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna overload or overcompensate on that front. I'm just gonna like hang it with the fat. And I've not been tracking very well when it comes to protein. Like whenever I purpose to track, I will track. And there've been several of my What I Eat in a Day videos where I do track, and I do try to keep a running tally on the protein, because I know that that's interesting information for y'all. And I know that that can sometimes give some kind of an indication like, okay, this is about what this food is. It's not going to be ideal for like each individual's physiology, but that's what this food is. So I find that that can be helpful at times. But on a day-to-day, I'm not counting for nothing. That's just a lot of extra work that I'm disinterested in engaging in at this point. So there is that. Yeah, I don't know what else. Briar Rose, I'm sure, I don't know if you're going to pop back over and watch the replay or not, but I was talking about the Perfect Keto sale at the very beginning, which I'm sure everybody and their pet monkey has heard about over the past, how many hours has it been live? It's 3:00 here in the central, or no, I'm not in central, I'm in Eastern Daylight Time. So it's been live for a little while, for sure. And I'm sure most of y'all have probably heard it from other people. If you want to use my link, I will try to remember to put a link down below to my affiliate into Perfect Keto. It is only going to earn me a little bit of money. It does not increase prices for y'all. There's no extra discount at this point with this particular sale. But I do have a discount code for 20% off if you use Lindsey M. So if you want to do that, I would be super jazzed. And if you don't, I totally understand that too. Or if you're already like loyal to one of the other peoples on the YouTubes or on the interwebs who use the Perfect Keto affiliate program, totally get it. Totally get it. So, Briar Rose, you're a replay watcher. Words are hard today. Words are hard. Alan, I totally missed it. You've been in maintenance, and so it's more about health, being healthy for you, more exercise, hikes, still eating keto. And I think that's awesome. I do feel like an optimal human when I do eat the way that my body functions well. And I also have a different body type than I think some women have. I'm not like super unique in this, but like I've got like really broad shoulders and narrower hips. Like my hips are narrower than my shoulders by a few inches. And I don't carry my weight in my thighs and in my hips and in the typical like female figure. I tend to carry all of my weight in my belly button and up. So it's one of those things for me where I know that my body shape or my body type tends to do better on different things. And I lost all trains of thought. Dagnabbit. We're losing it. Anyway, but eating in a ketogenic friendly way. I mean, obviously keto is not a diet. It's a metabolic state. I know I've mentioned that multiple times. I know tons of other people mention that all the time. I just want to say that a lot of times the way that I talk about diet is just the way that or the type of food that I consume. I could say that standard American diet is a diet. It's just the diet word labels a way of eating, or it labels like an active trying to lose weight. And I 99.99997% of the time am using it as a way of eating term, not a try to lose weight term, if that makes sense. I know there had been a comment regarding me eating in a Weston A. Price like way, talking about how Weston A. Price was not a diet. And while I understand that commenter's sentiment, totally agree. It was, WAP was not a diet to me. It was a methodology of preparing my food, long food, that kind of thing. And it just easily encapsulated that way of life more so than saying, well, I eat slow food. I sprout all the things. I go through and I grind my own wheat, and then I sourdough, and then I do fermented things. Like all of that is the way that the Weston A. Price Foundation like kind of like taught me what to do. And so I wasn't using that term as a diet in modern diet culture. It was more or less like it was a parameter for a way of eating that I utilized at that point. So that was weird. I don't know why I just randomly addressed that. Okie dokie. You know what? We've been on for nearly 45 minutes. It's been 41 minutes here. So if you have any last minute things you want to say, I would love to hear them now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And then I'm going to pop over here to my Perfect Keto website zone. And I'm going to go place my order before all of the Strawberry MCT Oil Powder is purchased, because I need more of that in my life. I will say, strawberry and salted caramel and unflavored. Those are my top three, right? The one that I did not like as much was cinnamon toast. There was a lot of like hoopla over like cinnamon toast is so good. So I tried it the other day and I was like, it's fine. I have not found its like sweet spot for the flavor for myself. And there was some kind of like a weirdness in the aftertaste for my palate. I'm not saying that that's like real for anybody else, but for my palate, that's where it was. And I think that one will be less useful in my life. So I won't likely, maybe I'm going to try it in some tea. Maybe it would be better in tea versus coffee. And Barb, did you say something? Barb, salted caramel is amazing. Love it. I love it. I love it very much. So very much. In fact, I had that in, I had the salted caramel collagen with the unflavored MCT oil in my coffee earlier today. I am still going to use the collagen powders, even though the small particle size is a bit questionable for me at this point. But the way I am balancing that is by using half a scoop or half of a serving, and then making sure to use a full serving of the unflavored MCT oil powder, just so that way the fat is a little bit better ratioed with that, the collagen. Jacques, you are with me on Strawberry Being Awesome. That's because it is, my friend. 100% awesome. Does that not look like Strawberry Quick? Oh my word. I loved Strawberry Quick. Whenever my mom would not buy that very often, but on the very rare occasion that it was available in the pantry, loved it. The sleep collagen did not help your sleep, Alan. How many different flavors do they have of that beauty and sleep one? Barb, you have the Matcha Perfect Keto MCT. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I have not acquired a solid taste for matcha yet, but maybe. I did get the Mexican hot chocolate. Is that what it is? I'm here. I'm still here, I promise. I did get the Beauty and Sleep Mexican hot chocolate. Yeah, I did get this one. I've only had this one one time. It's really hard whenever you buy a large variety of products, like that Memorial Day sale. Like I bought a lot of different products. But it kind of gets a little bit overwhelming. You're like, oh, well, I want to try them all, but I also know that if I have that many different MCT oils in one day, I am going to like have some major distress in my life. So I'm not going to do that. And then you wind up like, oh, I've got this and then this and then this and then this. And there's only so many opportunities to consume calories in a day. So I kind of just like, I kind of get on a bandwagon with one thing for a little while and I'm like, okay, change it up, Lindsey. You can change it up. You can do this. And then I change it up and I'm like, oh, I'm on this bandwagon now. This is awesome. So maybe tonight at bedtime, I will have another serving of the Mexican hot chocolate. I tend to find that, does this have ashwagandha in it? Is that what it is? Let us take a look. Yeah, ashwagandha. I have found that that one does not really do a whole heap for me as well. So, Alan had more to say. So 3 of them. Wait a minute. I need context on the 3 of them comment, Alan. Fantastic with the vanilla, not the villain. We've been watching a lot of movies recently with villains. So, Barb says it's fantastic with the vanilla too. You make a green tea smoothie. That sounds exciting. I used to drink like over-steeped green tea a lot. And I found much enjoyment in the bitterness of that for a while. And then I kind of fell off of the bandwagon with that one. And I don't find the enjoyment in that either. Briar Rose, you think Alan meant 3 different flavors? I see. That would actually make a lot of sense. I just kind of thought like it could have gone 2 different ways. Like 3 of the beauty and collagen, like 3 different varieties didn't work, or he bought them and one didn't work, but he had 3 in the back stock situation. You know what I mean? Like trying to work his way through it. Alan, speaking of which, I need to watch more of your videos. I was watching one of them the other day and I was like, I gotta watch more of this guy. And then I have the tiny humans who suck me away from all things that I'm in the middle of, and then I manage them, and then I forget my place as to where I once was. Da, 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 da. Alan, you tried 3 different flavors of the sleep collagen stuff, so that is a bummer that it doesn't work well for you. Like I said, I didn't notice any kind of a difference. I liked the flavor of the Mexican hot chocolate though. Flavor was good. I do think it could have used a little bit of cayenne, a little pinch of something spicy to it. Yeah, it definitely needs something spicy to it. Also, Mexican hot chocolate is technically cinnamon and chocolate flavor. Is that true or untrue? But they don't have any cinnamon. I don't see any cinnamon in this. So I feel like it's kind of like a little bit of a misleading kind of a not moniker for that. Alan had more to say, and someone else, Barb had more to say. You have made I'm assuming the matcha with the vanilla whey powder. You gave up the whey or the protein powders for now as well. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of the Isopure whey protein isolate unflavored. I've used that in my baking blend for years, and always felt like it was a really good product, but particle sizes matter, and I'm just trying to see where the line is for myself. Do I need to like completely cut it out of my life, or is there a sort of a point at which I can still use it and it not cause a whole pile of issues for myself? Alan, you tried the turmeric. That is not a flavor profile that is high on my list of I want that flavor in my life. It was good tasting, but you tracked on the Fitbit and there were no changes. That is disheartening. I don't feel like I have to consume things that are only health like beneficially healthy. I do find a lot of enjoyment and whatnot in just like tasting food and whatnot. But it's one of those things whenever you expect a product to help you in some way in order to help you like achieve something more than what you already have, and it fails, that's disappointing for sure. Briar Rose, I don't know if the live chats on the replay work ever. That's why I read them out loud. But Briar Rose let me know that her kitten was fighting her for her pork chop. I mean, kudos to the kitten who won. inquiring minds wish to know. All right. Okay, we have chatted on for like 50 minutes. If you are watching the replay, please put it on double speed in order to save yourself time. That is my theory. Always put everything on double speed if you can. But check out the Perfect Keto sale, and I am trying to film a video of what I eat in a day. I'm gonna hopefully put out a grocery haul at some point this week, and then I really want to get some food prep done to alleviate a little bit of time in my life. So we shall see where all those videos happen. Also, I have to deal with the whole like hard drive situation to really make a lot of those things come to fruition. So we'll see what happens. Okay, last few comments here. Barb, you make turmeric tea with chai spices, adding egg yolk. Oh, so she says she's thinking about adding egg yolks and butter to that too, and make another eggy drink. I think that sounds delightful. Kelly, you ask if I am planning to do a house tour. I am not. Briar Rose, you won, but there were claws involved. Hers, not mine. I mean, I think that at some point, a small little bite of pork chop might be awarded to the second place individual. Kelly, you love their MCT oil powders. You put it in your tea, coffee, strawberries, and cold drinks. It's so fantastic. It disappeared on me. You never thought to use it with soda, especially since you use it in so many other drinks. I tell you what, just like, it kind of like, at first I was thinking root beer float almost, or, you know, doing a dreamsicle float kind of a thing. And I'm now wondering if I shouldn't put the strawberry MCT oil into a plain base of ice cream for my Ninja Creamy, and then doing an actual strawberry cream float. Like, that feels like something that needs to be in my life at this point. So who knows? That might be realistic, a realistic idea that actually comes to fruition at some point. Okay. Thank you so much for being here today with me, everybody who was here with me on live. If you are following along on the replay, I appreciate that you have made it thus far. And yeah, I don't know what else, but I hope to see y'all in my next video or live.